It's 7 o'clock. We'll start our meeting of the Harrisville City Council. I'm Mayor Michelle Tait, and I'm officiating tonight, and I appreciate you all being here. I will lead us in a pledge of allegiance. Will we all rise? Repeat with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we are very grateful to come before thee tonight for the opportunity we have to meet as a city, as a community, to discuss important matters of the city. Grateful for the many people who serve in various capacities. Grateful for those that have given so much to be able to serve and live and work here. We ask to watch over us tonight. Bless us that we can have calm hearts and minds, and our speech might be clear, and that we can do as thou would have us do. We're very grateful again for all we have, and we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Before we begin tonight's meeting, I want to take a moment to recognize the recent and untimely passing of our Public Works Director, Justin Schnitzel. Justin served Harrisville City for the past 4 years with deep dedication and integrity. He was passionate about his work and constantly looked for ways to improve our operations, often stepping in personally to complete tasks that saved the city money. He thoughtfully reorganized his department's budget to ease the strain on our general fund, and created a work environment where safety, training, and employee well-being were top priorities. His leadership was instrumental in the design and construction of our new Public Works building, a lasting legacy to his commitment to our community. More than anything, Justin will be remembered for his work ethic, his compassion, and the deep respect he earned from his team and colleagues. His loss is felt throughout the city. I ask that you now join me together in a moment of silence to honor the life and service of Justin Schnitzel. To our business items, excuse me. We're going to move right on to have Jill Hunt's presentation. We'll turn the time over to her. All right. Is this working? I think so. Here. Ready? Sweet.
We're going to kind of go over where everything starts so you guys can understand what tonight really is for. So you have property, the county assessor determines the taxable value. You have your market value and then you have your taxable value. Once that's determined, the commercial part, 100% of the taxable value is what's taxed, where the residential is 55% of that taxable value, goes against what rate the entity, which would be us, is determined for that year. So the valuation is determined by the county. You guys are responsible to choose the rate that would be fit for Harrisville for this budget year. Once that's determined, that's what will determine what we receive throughout the whole year. The taxing as a whole, we're just a fraction. Who else receives your property tax? You have your school district, which is Weber County. You have all these other districts. You have the county and all of theirs. I pulled up just one example of one property. There's quite a bit. So we're a portion of it. We're not the whole. That's the important part. Okay? Some of the benefits that come from the city's portion is we're able to help put some more money towards the parks for maintaining the tennis courts, events, recreation roads, and public safety, which is our police officers. One big change from last year, if you can see the notices, the county has informed me that valuations have changed. That is part of the increase. So, for example, last year, the average, it's not every home, so there are some that are lower, some that are higher. The average home last year was $416,000. This year, it's $425,000. Okay, so just make note of that. Here's your history. So in 2020, our tax rate was 0.000802, and which gave us $344,619. Okay? And every year it dropped, the rate drops. So in 22, that's when we hit our big increase. We changed the rate to 0.0015. If you notice the difference, but one big contributor is the growth. Okay? 23, we did truth in taxation to maintain. Last year we did a 5.25% increase, which was the 0.001562, which this is the total amount that we received last year. With the proposed maintaining rate, it goes up. One of the biggest portions is they're anticipating almost doubling our growth. Okay? So that's another key piece of why it's going to be going up if you maintain the rate. And for record, you guys, this is all on the county. You guys can pull anything on here. So to kind of help you see where everything goes, if we go back, oops. This is what, if we were to maintain what we would receive, the $1,073,737. And this is what just our general fund proposed temporary budget looks like. Okay? So it covers maybe a small fraction. And here's the list of items, and these are not all of them, these are just the biggest hitters in the budget. We need to have the vehicles for our police so they can go out, patrol streets, do what they need to. Everyone has to have training for state requirements in those departments. For example, our police department, they have their post requirements for training. Parks, we have our splash pad trainings that they have to maintain in order to have that open. Same with our public works and administration. So for example, our recorders go to trainings to make sure we're up to date with all of the state requirements, as well as the city administrator and myself. So there are some mandatory things that are not just, they're required by the state. Moving on, so here's some options. That was the biggest thing. I wanted to make sure I gave you guys everything to help you decide what you feel you guys want to do. And this is where it, depending on what you want to do, is going to capture the new growth or not. And I'll explain that in just a second. So by maintaining the rate that we are, which is this 0.001562, we capture all of that new growth, all the new buildings that came in, all the new homes. Yes, it does go up $6.55 for an average home of $425,000. Yes, it will go up for commercial. If we do no change, everything will stay the same, no increase. We'll receive the same amount as last year, is what they're determining, and this is what the rate would be. If we go halfway, so not maintain the current rate, but be able to capture that new growth, again, which I'll explain in just a minute how that works. We could do the 0.001548 rate. It does still increase what we receive. It only goes up $3.27 for the average home, $425,000, and commercial, which would be $5.95. So it cuts it in half. On the new growth, the best way to explain that is all these new homes that have been built within this last year. By capturing that, they will contribute the same as what everybody else will with the rate. If we don't, an easy way to explain, you have a city, we'll say, of 30 homes, and each home pays $100. If the rate doesn't change and we have a new subdivision that already came in for another 5 homes, they will split that amount between the 35 homes. The rate will drop, but the amount that we will receive will be the same. It'll just be distributed differently. However, if we change the rate rather than no change, we are able to capture that growth and make sure everything is accounted for. One of the important things as capturing the new growth is you have police officers that have to, maintain, whether it's a commercial subdivision or a residential. You have roads that you have to maintain. I'm not saying by capturing the growth it's going to cover all of it, because that's not the point of it. Is to help ease the burden from all these other points of the cities that have been there, so these newer ones can help contribute, if that makes any sense. So we can do no change, and then next year either maintain and try this again, or look to see what everything's going to look like. But the more growth you have, you will risk taking a bigger jump because of the amount that you'd have to recoup. Because I can't necessarily tell you the exact dollar of what it would be, because I don't know how far Ben Lomond's gonna go by the end of this budget that we're currently in, or any other, or Dixon, because those are the 2 big ones. So I can't necessarily narrow it down to the dollar. So that's what I can tell you. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our public hearing, which is this an opportunity for those in the audience to approach the podium. We are, as a city council, to receive input from the public for and or against a proposed certified tax rate for Harrisville City. If you want to speak, you come to the podium. Please state your name, and then you have 3 minutes. And the time is yours.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. We do need a motion.
I could have got 3 minutes.
I'll second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Do I need a roll call on this? Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. The public hearing is now open.
Kevin Karras. My understanding of new growth, well, the reason the rate changes is because it's meant to give you the same amount that you budgeted. If you increase your budget, then you got to raise your taxes. The idea of, quote, capturing new growth is kind of, I'm confused, because it's my understanding new growth is accounted for. It was presented that you were going to get $27,000, quote, because of new growth. When values go up, yes, it noted that the average home is going up $425,000. That would have resulted in you getting more than what you budgeted. And so right now, it looked like in the presentation I saw, and it's not here, it just always, that's a problem I have. It's always put in terms of how much it's gonna cost. It doesn't show me how much, well, I guess I can do the math. You're looking for an increase between 1,028,000 versus 1,073,000. That's how much you were looking for a budget increase. The notion that, quote, you need to maintain rate, to me is not a reason to increase taxes. That rate balances because of property values. If you feel like, and I saw another presentation, I believe I read it correctly, that you're looking for $20,000. What I'm looking for is, where does that go? All the things that were outlined are things you already have going. And I saw some increases in what you expect from sales tax. And so $20,000 is well within what you could do within your current budget without raising taxes again, which has been your mode. And the idea that, quote, you're covering inflation, what I saw last year, all your spending was new. You guys, you were coming up with $50,000 and you didn't have any idea what you're going to spend it on. You had to have a follow-on meeting, and then it was pick and choose the menu. It didn't reflect inflation, it reflected new spending. And every time you have new spending, yes, that creates an ongoing expense all the time that you're gonna have when you hire people. So I know it can be one of those, well, it's only $6.55, and yes, everybody's gonna pay. But is it really needed? Is it really needed? I think in some minds, yes. But when we go back and look at the budget, there always seems to be room to say, we can maintain the rate and we'll be just fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Jason Hadley, just in the Misty Meadows. If you need my address, I don't know, but just a couple of points. I echo a lot of the sentiment that Kevin already expressed. I don't feel that there was enough in this presentation to talk about what new services is this going to bring to the city. Whenever there's not a justifiable expense, then that budget increase is not necessary. As was mentioned, when you talk about the increase, yes, ours is only a small amount, $5, $6. It's real easy to say that. But if you get your $5, $6, and like was said, every little small piece of the pie, how much is your property tax actually going up this year? Proposed tax I saw is almost $250, somewhere in there, $250 a year. That becomes unsustainable for many, many people. And if we can do our part to alleviate the burdens that our citizens are bearing, we should. And so there should be no unnecessary tax increase if there's no unnecessary expense that it's going to cover or increase the service. So for that matter, I would vote no and against the tax increase.
Thank you, Jason.
Rick Wetz. So, yeah, I'm going to join on the bandwagon here. Got my tax assessment. Harrisville, $7.12. $154, Weaver School District. Another $12.71 for Central Weaver Sewer. And $20.59 for Northview. Grand total $194.69. $7, I can handle $7. $194, all right. I retired this year, I'm on fixed income. I'm not gonna get an extra $194 in pay to cover all these tax increases. And it's my understanding you want a tax increase simply because my property went up. But if you don't need it, don't get it, don't take it. let it go. So, everybody else, I oppose any tax increase, just for a simple purpose that you guys can, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Doug Russell, 1080 North Highway 89. Moved there in 1963 with my family. Been a resident of this city for a long, long time. Absolutely love Harrisville. I agree with the last two gentlemen that just spoke that, yeah, your increase isn't much. When you add it to the two previous increases, it's a whole bunch. Excuse me. When you add it to the increases that the other entities are asking for their mill levy, it hits the senior citizens, especially those of us on fixed income, right where it hurts, right in the pocketbook. The other thing I wanted to point out was that on new construction, on new growth, because I've been in real estate for 35 years, I know for a fact that the assessed value of the properties within the county are assessed as of January 1 of the tax year. So the assessed values of all the properties with all the new growth that is happening right now in Harrisville City, if that wasn't a house on that lot on January 1, it was assessed as a $100,000 or $150,000 lot. And that's the taxes that they pay for the entire year. Even now, there's maybe a $700,000 house on that lot across the street that wasn't there on January 1 last year. Now it's there on January 1 this year. It wasn't there on January 1 this year. And so you're only going to get the assessed value for that lot. And so your new growth, it's a year behind. I tried to Google how many new construction permits were issued for Harrisville City in 2025. It couldn't tell me. I don't know if you have an idea of how many construction permits have been issued, how significant that is. But those permits were just vacant lots on January 1 of this year. And that's not going to be counted as new growth for income. But for next year, it will be. And so if you increase our tax burden on us current residents this year, then you're going to receive a double whammy for that, if you will, when those properties now are assessed as $700,000 instead of $100,000. And so I would ask the same thing, give us a break. You've gotten a lot out of us the last few years on tax increases. You're doing a great job with the money that you have. Your services are great. We complain about garbage pickup a lot, but I know that's not you. Your police department is fantastic. Your public works department is great. The people that we're working with, they're developing the property up behind us now. And the people I've been working with at Harrisville City have all been really good to work with. Fine people. But give us a break this year. Don't increase our taxes again, because you will get it double and more next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Good evening, Jana Frost. What else was I supposed to say? That's it. Okay, fantastic. Sorry, I wore flip-flops. I should have changed. That's totally inappropriate for a meeting. But Mayor and City Council and others, thank you and appreciate this meeting tonight. I was kind of bummed out by the presentation. I just wanted to get a little more information and some things. And some things that I'm thinking about as a resident, a citizen, a taxpayer, a mom, a public employee as well. Like, I get it. I'm just wondering if there's other ways we can get this $6 or whatever per person. Like, can we, like, things look so much better. I noticed the volleyball court was like raked perfectly this morning when I was walking at the park today, and there's actually grass. And I'm super excited about all those things, and I haven't even looked at what the Millennial Park, I think is what the one's called. I haven't even been over there, but I know that a lot of stuff is going on. So, like, there's really great things going on. Our snow shoveling has been amazingly awesome. Like, we live in this cute little cul-de-sac, and I know we're like the last ones to get shoveled, but it always gets done. It's always amazing. Like, we're super happy. But could we get some sports going on in our stuff? Can we bring in some soccer teams? Can we bring in some lacrosse teams? We've asked a few times about things like that because we're involved with a lot of sports things, and I just think there's other ways we can get these couple dollars that we want from each citizen each month. And businesses, like, I kind of wish this meeting was a little more, can we just like talk to each other? And get some response, you know, like, I'm not in charge, whatever. But I just feel like there might be some other ways that we could make this work. So we get what we need from the city, but we also help our citizens out, because I know this doesn't seem like a lot, but over and over again, like, we only said the 5% increase. We didn't say the 100 and whatever increase when we were talking about that. So it's just been a lot the last few years, and I think there might be some other ways to go about and get this money. So I would be interested in getting businesses, getting some teams in here. I'm sure there's other ideas. Those are just the ones that have come to my brain as I'm sitting here thinking about how we best serve our city. So thank you for your service. I really appreciate it, because I don't want to do it. So thank you.
Thank you. Last call. All right. Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thank you for those that have expressed your concerns on this. I'm not sure if you want to discuss this tonight, council. I will let you know that this decision will not be made tonight. It will be made on August 19th at 7 o'clock in the same building. Our usual scheduled city council meeting for next Tuesday night is being canceled because it is election day. So that's why we're having tonight. Next week we will be canceled, and we will adjourn till the 19th and come back here then. Council, what would you like to do?
I would just like to ask a couple clarifying questions. I think that's what we got. I understand that if we were to raise, or not even raise, but maintain, that it would increase $6.55 per year, not per month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right, it's as a whole.
Okay, all right. And then, was it Doug or Russell?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So kind of what I understood, and leading from what you said, if the taxes that they have paid was assessed on the empty lot, and if we were to change the certified tax rate, then we kind of get paid twice. Is that what I understand, or do we not?
So he's accurate. Those that had homes, so you had Ashler Cove, you've had Copperwoods, I know there's another one. Montgomery Farms, that was the other one. That there was a lot of homes that were built before the end of the year.
Right.
That's the new growth that it's going to capture, and there was quite a bit of them. And hopefully next year we'll get anything that's done by the end of this year, which we've already had, I want to say 4 buildings that had multiple townhomes in Dixon Creek. And we're hoping Ben Lowman will get a couple before the end of the year. So we might not get as many, depending on what gets done, but he is accurate. It's just as of the end of the year last year.
Okay, so it's not something that we get, we can assess them this year at a higher rate or anything like that. It's just at whatever they complete, their valuation is what is paid per annum. Okay, clarifying.
So I need a little bit of clarification between, I guess, maintaining and half. So you talked about half the rate and 1.548, but still capture versus going to the last one, no change, won't capture anything.
It won't capture any of that new growth, yes.
That's where I'm a little fuzzy.
And either when, whatever you guys choose will be fine. I wanted to show you what options you had, so you could make whatever decision.
So
Really
what
good
you're
with it.
using this money for is just general maintenance? There's no specific thing
So,
about it?
the cost, I know not everybody wants to hear it, but like the cost of equipment, repairs, like our oil changes itself used to be $60. Now it's close to 80. And if you put that, and that's just our police cars. We do all the other maintenance on all the other vehicles. So the oil does go up.
So you're basically saying
it's
inflation is
that's
trying
a
to
good
get figured
chunk.
into this?
That's a chunk. It's not all of it.
No.
But as we have that new growth, like Ashler Cove, we have that road that we have to maintain, or if something happens, we have to be able to take care of it. And not to mention the cost for employees. If someone leaves, it costs us a lot more to put someone back in to get them up where we need them to be. Like for example, our police officer, if we lose a police officer and we have to get all new uniforms, trainings. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm gonna take all of these so I can make sure you guys see them going forward.
So as I understand with the verified rate, as it keeps dropping off with growth, is the idea behind that so that we take in the same amount of revenue from year to year unless we make a change?
So
With
if
growth,
we don't do any change whatsoever, the rate, yes, does go down.
it does go down,
It
but
does go
but
down.
the idea behind that to keep the revenues the same from the year before.
It doesn't always, but this year it
But
did.
that's the idea behind it.
Yes.
So if inflation and all the other things go up, we're still maintaining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess if we make no change, and I completely understand the concern that, Weaver School District just did like a 21%, and a lot of things that are causing huge increases, I'm aware of all of that. If we are not making a change, are we at least going to be able to maintain where we're at? Or is this, maintaining the current tax rate, is that all?
If we maintain the current tax rate, it would be the increase of the 1.67.
Yeah.
If you don't want any change,
Right,
the rate will go down, but we will receive the same amount that we did last year.
gotcha, okay.
Does that make sense?
It does,
It's-
and I agree that we're all being hit really hard lately, and it does affect those in fixed incomes really hard.
Any more discussion? Any more questions while we've got Jill here with us?
If we change it, we run the risk though next year coming back and possibly needing a higher rate if inflation keeps going.
We can maintain every year the rate at the 0.001562 as long as you guys want. The amount that will come in will vary, especially with the valuation of the homes and how many homes that are there. So if that, and I think that's the part where we have to make sure, are we talking about maintaining the rate? Not necessarily what we get,
Right.
the rate, because that's what the county and the state want us to determine, is because that's what they go off of, the rate. If we don't want to make a change, The rate does go down, which is fine. I'm not saying we have to, I'm saying it's fine. If we keep going down and the cost of inflation, we might get ourselves caught where we were last time. And we don't want to do that again. 166% was hard. So I'm not saying we need to maintain it every year. I'm not saying we need to up it every year. We need to have that discussion to see where we're at. And that's why we're here, is to see what you guys want to do.
Has inflation, have we had to go up in insurance and health costs every year?
Health costs, it has gone up. I will say this, we are very fortunate. We are one of the lower ones. The average for the group, or the groups, I'll say the groups, is about 8 to 9%. Ours went up 4%. So that is a big chunk. That's inevitable. It's going everywhere. We're still not the high at all. Our workers' comp, we're doing everything that we can to make sure we get the discounts. We're pushing no accidents, you know. Things happen, but we're really trying to make sure we're doing everything we can make those discounts. Gas has gone up. Yeah, it's just the normal stuff that's been going up that households see.
So if we leave it right where it is, at the 1562, and next year Weber County comes back, because this is all Weber County, not us, we're not asking for anything new. This is Weber County raising their taxes on the evaluation of the homes, right?
That's a part of it.
Part of it.
Go ahead,
The
Mary.
assessment on homes is from Weber County. They are not raising the taxes. That is up to us, whether we maintain that rate or not. They're just saying, if you want that same amount, then you're lowering that. But if you want to capture the new growth and everything with the assessment, you have to.
What the assessment, okay.
Did you want to answer that?
That's fine.
These are great questions. I appreciate it.
It's nothing to do with this meeting, but it was interesting to watch Box Elder County did a bond over there, you know. And I just wonder what's happening in the education field, because that's a major protection percentage across the board of the major tax increase. What, 50% is education of the pie?
I believe so.
Yeah, and I appreciate what's being said here, but I really wonder what's being said there. But that's the side point, has nothing to do with us. So it's just an interesting comment. And it's not meant to be a slap, it's just, you know, it's, you know, we're all going there. No, I can't formulate the question, so I'm not gonna ask it.
Currently, do we have any projected businesses coming in, or prospective businesses at all coming in?
Yes, well, we have multiple projects that have been approved through the process. Some of them are part of our mixed-use developments that you're aware of, because we renegotiated Loman. We have several projects on Highway 89 and one on 2550 and 750 West. There's a lot of the challenges with growth, particularly business growth, is infrastructure needs. Infrastructure costs are really expensive and high, and the funding for the infrastructure is high. The rates are very high for commercial development. But yes, we have 2 projects that have full approval, but we haven't seen them move ground. There's a manufacturing business going in over on 750 West. We've recently taken out their building permit, but we are seeing some movement there.
And then with the ones, that we've, with renegotiating that loan, and I know that we have that piece on 750, where the new townhomes are, they were gonna get a facade or something like that, or, I don't know, I guess the question is, do we have anybody who's actively seeking businesses to help bring them into our city? That's really the
An
question.
economic development, is that what you're asking?
Correct.
No, well, you're looking at her, right?
Yes, I have 12 other hats.
Right.
Okay.
We do have our planner, Sarah, that works for Johnson Associates, that she's been wonderful this year, and she has met with multiple developers that want to bring in additional business into the communities. We're balancing that growth at this point. We're being mindful of what that will do. We have 1,100 entitled units in Harrisville already. Some of them have been built. Ashler Cove, Dixon Creek is starting to, Montgomery Farms, but we have multiple other projects that we haven't seen movement on. So we're being very mindful of any additional growth that comes in where they're pressuring the city for additional residential growth. And so we're not seeing the commercial growth take off. We did have a recent discussion with a developer interested on the north end of the city. 2,700 is impacting us on Highway 89. Traffic counts are very high on Highway 89 for the daytime commute, but we're not seeing interest in development. We're always told we don't have enough rooftops. We don't have enough residents to support the growth. I just met with the developer of the project on 750 and the highway, and they have had some interest in their commercial development. Again, told they don't have enough, we're told we don't have enough rooftops to support that. So we do have a lot of these conversations going on around, but to answer your first question, no, we don't have someone dedicated, and that would be a cost to the city if we wanted to seek that. I have looked into the Chamber of Commerce. I've met with many people on that site. I've talked to Wasatch Front Regional Council to see what small cities are eligible for those types of services. We've definitely gone that route to try to have those free services given to us.
So really, because I have the concern that we're building up all this residential and not enough business, but then we don't have enough residential to get the business is kind of what I'm hearing.
I have a catch-22 there.
Yeah, it is.
So what are we projecting growth-wise in the next couple of years? I mean, we're anticipating, and it's the I know, looking at the golden ball at this point.
The crystal ball, right?
Yeah, the crystal ball.
So we have an average of 2,500 homes in Harrisville right now, and we have 1,100 new units. So we have another a third to a half of our population will be increasing. Those are just entitled units. So that comes in a variety of single-family homes. The golf course is 664 homes, combined single-family townhomes, what they call patio homes, paseo homes, those things. So yeah, our residential development will increase. We're seeing it slow. We had a housing committee meeting yesterday, the mayor and I. We talked with that's a Weber County subcommittee meeting. We talked with our neighboring cities. They're feeling the same pinch with residential. The anticipation, we were promised, I shouldn't use the word promised. We were anticipating that Dixon Creek would be built out in a very fast, rapid pace. We've seen 5 buildings. I believe most of the buildings are sold, so that's good news. We don't have vacant buildings. Some of our neighboring communities have vacant businesses. That's that pinch we've discussed with developers. Do we make them build a shell and hope that the business comes in? Do we let them leave the vacant land until something more viable comes? We're constantly having those discussions with developers to see what works best for the city.
And I know that may not seem relevant. I'm just kind of exploring other options with this revenue.
When I first became mayor, we met with Steve Baldrick, who's now Governor Cox's authority on housing, and he was working for Boyer then. We asked him, come and help us develop the area around Walmart. There's vacant lots everywhere. And they literally, we had tables out, they put maps out, and they told us that there's no way that they could bring people in to fill those lots. Usually a big box store has followers and they can bring them. For some reason, that's not the case it's going to be. So nothing became of it.
Yeah, we're kind of a landlocked.
And then we have a lot to offer, so.
Right, we do, yeah. And we are seeing a lot of growth on 2700, which cuts down the businesses that we can start to bring over here to us. Bless you.
Any more questions?
We're still looking at Ben Lomond. They're probably gonna not do the commercial to the very end. So.
Yes, definitely. They've got a concept plan on the commercial, but they're working two crews. I think you're aware that they're working on the north side and the south side, working very quickly to get those roads in and infrastructure. Will, to Mr. Russell's point, it's everything that's assessed on January 1st. So building permits taken out this year, so late in the year, we probably won't see a large impact to our budget this next fiscal year. We've been holding an empty bag, as you're well aware, with the Ben Lomond project for about, I've been working on it since 2018. So it's tricky to try to balance the budget with development right now, but we're happy to do whatever your direction is.
I just want to try to make a more informed decision, but also really consider what the community is asking, because it is really hard times right now.
Do you have any more items of discussion now? You were welcome to study this out, and welcome to get with Jill or Jenny. I'm volunteering you both.
Our affordable housing audit, how often are we in good shape with that for this year?
Hold your breath. We submitted, the deadline was August 1st. We actually submitted a week early, but we are in the timeline of their review process. So I did meet with them prior to our submission to get feedback if they saw any gaps in our report that we needed to address. I didn't get any negative feedback from them, so we moved forward with our submission. So you should see a letter come through in the next month, 6 weeks. I would anticipate that's about when we heard something back last year. They are still working on the affordable housing ordinance with Planning Commission, and we would like to kind of pencil you in for a September work session to get your feedback on that.
If it were to come back that we're not totally in compliance, or is there a grace period where they allow us to get in there before they start finding us?
Yes, you have a 90-day grace period to update either your general plan or make corrections to your report before you have to, you get fined or they impose any penalties on that.
What is the fine?
500 a day
500
for
a
the
day?
first year.
To the Only Walker Housing Foundation.
Yeah,
It's
thanks to the state.
it's pretty stiff on that. I'm hopeful. We did, because we adopted 6 strategies to begin with, we gave ourselves some leeway on that report. I did, full disclosure, I switched strategies this year because we weren't seeing progress with another strategy. And so the feedback I got was really good on our new strategy. The new state bill, if we adopt an affordable housing ordinance, gives us credit for 3 years on our moderate income housing report. We're anticipating them making some corrections to that report with the state housing plan that's in phase 2. But we're hopeful that any additional changes they make to that plan will hopefully be relief to cities rather than more pressure for us on that. They're seeing some evidence of the reports. You're aware of our infrastructure map that we created that shows the deficiencies in our city and how those deficiencies are impacting our development. So the word is getting back to state legislators that just because we entitle units doesn't mean that they're being built in the state. All cities are seeing that, is there's lack of infrastructure throughout the state. A little off budget discussion, but happy to answer any of your questions.
No, I think it's relative to the budget.
Those are all avenues that we look into trying to save the residents. Yes, we do understand the pinch of property taxes on our residents, and we would love to offer some relief by bringing in more business into Harrisville. That would be a welcome change for us. But as everyone wants us to be controlled with that growth as well.
analysis of salaries in our city. Some people look at the budget and they say, how can we afford this person because they're over $100,000 a year for this. And so I guess what I'm trying to do is formulate information on how we came up with the budget salaries, because that's a major part of our budget is taking care of. I realize everybody wears many hats and goes through that. But where do we sit across the board with our side of equality of city? Because I know we're a landlocked area, and yet we have a police department that people are impressed with, but yet it's expensive. So how do we come to the cross of saying this is how we can afford to do this without going like, gee, we're overpaying for salaries? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because that's a part of the budget.
Can I say something to that?
It's your discussion. I'm here to support your
So
discussion.
I actually had some similar thoughts. I went to transparentutah.gov, and you can pull up anybody's salary who's worked for the government. I was in there because I helped with a play with Weaver County.
Sure.
So you can see exactly what they're making, and you can compare it to anybody who has a similar size city or a larger city. We are very median in what we're paying people. We brought it up, I think, to be more competitive, and you can see exactly what they make on their salary, what they make in benefits, meaning their insurance and things like that. So you can go on and look yourself and compare. But I feel like with that bigger tax increase, that brought it up so that people are not constantly leaving, because having that turnover is incredibly expensive. And training somebody, you have to send them to conferences and to trainings, and then we're training them to leave to go work at other cities who are paying them more. And so, but we're still not paying at the top of the pay scale. We're very middle of the road with what we're paying our employees.
Okay.
Thank you for answering that. Anything else, council? Are you ready to move on? All right. It is a shorter agenda tonight, so let's move on to item 4, which is adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn,